Time for the spotlight. Welcome to the spotlight with Herbert Dennard. Welcome to the spotlight. Middle Georgia spotlight. Yeah.
Good day and welcome back to Middle Georgia Spotlight. And I'm Herbert Dennard, and I have with me Bill Adams, who is the president of Middle Georgia Justice. Judge, that's what I call you because you was a judge for how long?
18 and a half years, Judge in the Bibb County State Court.
Right. So tell me exactly, what is Middle Georgia Justice?
Well, as a judge, I saw things that were troubling to me and had to do with people coming to court without a lawyer. And so often that meant a bad outcome, even when they might have had the better argument, but they weren't represented by an attorney, did not know what they were doing, and got a bad outcome. So I, at some point, felt called to do something different than sit on the bench and hear these cases, and to get out and try to do something to close the justice gap. We have a large justice gap in America. A lot of people go to court without a lawyer, not just in Middle Georgia, but all over the country. It's a national problem, and so I took to studying up on it and learning more about it and seeing what other people were doing around the state and even around the country to try to improve the situation. And what we evolved into is now an office in downtown Macon, the second floor of the Bank OZK. We started with an idea, and now we have an office with 9 employees, and I'm there full time as a volunteer, and we have other lawyers that volunteer to help us out, and we help a lot of people. The needs far exceed our capacity, but we're doing what we can, and as we help people that come to our program, it helps not just them, but their family members, their neighborhood. The entire community benefits by what we do to help people get their legal problems resolved in an orderly way.
Do you help find lawyers for them?
Well,
People that might be, I'm going to say, falsely accused of going into court without a lawyer. You help find lawyers for them?
Well, our model is to be direct representation. We have some lawyers that consult with us, and we tried that early on with the volunteer lawyers, but you just can't depend on volunteers to get the work done that needs to be done. So our model has evolved into staff attorneys, and our executive director is an attorney, and we have 2 staff attorneys, and I'm there full time. And so people come to us with a variety of problems. We're focusing on family law, probate law, and criminal history relief. There are other areas of law that have needs as well, but we cannot be everything to everybody. We have to kind of get in a lane that we develop some expertise in, and we feel like we've done that in these 3 areas, and the word gets out. I mean, we don't have to do a whole lot of we like to educate the community and inform people about what we're doing, but they find us, and we stay very busy.
You have spoken at the Bibb County Jail for the Just Walk Away initiative on a number of occasions, and one of the things we find out there when you meet, sometimes you give them ways that they could clean their record up when they get out. Tell me something about that.
Well, you learn that 40% of Georgians have a criminal record, and that gets in the way of employment, housing, lots of problems that are created. And Georgia law has some remedies to help folks who get through the criminal justice process to what I call the back end, where they've arrested, prosecuted, go to court, get sentenced, serve their time, do their sentence, and then they're beyond that. But they still have this criminal record, and it gets in the way of employment opportunities is the biggest thing we see. But so as I say, Georgia law has some remedies. If you get arrested and the case is not prosecuted for some reason, that arrest might still be on your the Georgia Crime Information Center, GCIC, rap sheet, if you will. They still call it that. And so if you apply for some jobs, they want to run your criminal history, and if there's an arrest that did not lead to a conviction, well, that should be restricted. It's not expunged. Georgia law does not allow for true expungement, as that term is used in some other states. But in Georgia, it's limiting access to that information. And so we help folks all the time who have things on their GCIC report that should not be there or should be showing restricted. And Georgia law now allows, it used to be a conviction was on your record forever. Now Georgia law provides you can get 2 lifetime eligible misdemeanor convictions off, restricted, and then after you get it restricted, you ask the court to seal the court records, because we know a lot of employers will send these companies to go look up information on you at the courthouse. So it might be restricted in GCIC, but it's the court records are there, public records, and they go look it up. So to get complete relief, we ask the courts to seal the court records. So if somebody goes there to the courthouse to look you up, it's sealed. And then on the felony side, Georgia law has long offered the option of seeking a pardon from the state of Georgia for your conviction. And Georgia law now, in addition to the remedy of the pardon, if you get a pardon, you can go back to the sentencing court and ask that court to restrict in GCIC that conviction, that felony conviction that was pardoned, and you can also get the court record sealed. And so that's a great remedy, and we've helped a lot of folks get these remedies and clean up their criminal records and get jobs that they could not have gotten or promotions that they had been denied. So it's very gratifying.
Can you tell me if a person that's listening to this program right now, if they wanted to get in contact with you, if they wanted to you to help them in some areas, who can they call you?
Well, we have a website, just mgajustice.org, and on our website we have a Get Help tab, and then for the criminal history relief, we call it our second opportunity desk. Mm-hmm. That's what we call it. And so there's a tab that says the desk, and so the intake process on all our cases is through our website. You fill out an online application, submit it, it comes to us, and depending on what relief you're seeking, we'll help you through the intake process and eventually get to where you sit down with typically 2 lawyers to review your case. And a lot of people we see have never sat down with a lawyer. And so that alone, they're just grateful to have that chance. And then we can get depending on what their needs are, we can get some relief for them. And so it's an intake process through our website, and then that's where I direct folks.
I mean, I think what you're doing is absolutely fabulous.
Well, thank you,
Herbert. To help people, because sometimes when people go to court, the only time they see their lawyer is the day of the court, their court-appointed lawyer.
Well, I hear those stories, and we, the Gideon case that folks remember Gideon, all right, from the 1960s, when the U.S. Supreme Court said, if you're facing the loss of your liberty at the hands of the state, you have a right to be represented by a lawyer, and if you cannot afford one, the state's obligated to provide you one. And so over time, that's evolved into, locally, we have a public defender. Rick Waller is our circuit public defender, and he does a great job as far as I'm concerned, but they are overwhelmed. And I hear those stories, and the sheer volume of cases, I don't know what to tell you, but they do the best they can, and we're all under-resourced.
Right. I appreciate you stopping by.
Well, I appreciate you having me, Herbert. I consider you a good friend. You were a friend of my father, and my father had a lot to do with who I am and what I do.
He was a great person.
And he taught me to give back to the community because he lived that. He didn't just tell me to do it. He did it.
Right.
And he passed it on to me, and I'm doing my best to pass it on to the next generation.